maybe this is weird, but I'm gonna say this too because I just feel like it needs to be said. Like, for some reason, like, okay, first of all black people are not drug affiliated or gang affiliated in some way. Don't get me wrong, I feel like they probably have heard of or know of someone who is gang affiliated in some way, but that doesn't have to be like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you also, like, there's no person who, like, you're gonna know if somebody's gang affiliated or drug affiliated because they're gonna be like trying to sell you drugs or trying to get you to participate in a get, or you're gonna see them doing gang activity. If you don't see them doing like, just be around a person enough, you'll kind of know if they're like doing gang activity or doing drugs that, like, I don't, or selling drugs. It's not like you don't have to search under mats and shit to know that. Like, it's just, you're gonna know. But another part of that, I guess, that gets kind of weird is because now all the people who are in the drug game or whatever the fuck that is, all the rappers are talking about drugs and criminal activity and shit. There's all these like cultural norms and shit that have to do with, like, you know, lying and telling and revenge and like all of this weird shit that, like, in normal society that's just not a part of what it is. Like, I don't even, it's just, it's all really weird. And I feel like a large part of like civil society has now turned to sort of like criminality customs, which is like super strange. It's almost like you know, you, I don't know. I don't go out feeling like I have to watch my back or that people are after me because, like, I just don't. I've never done shit to anybody, so I don't. I've never told on anybody in. I shouldn't say that. Like, when I was out with my friend the other night and we got jumped, I for sure, like, reported that to the police. Like, the girls who literally jumped us. But besides that, like, I don't know. I don't actually know about any of the criminal activity that other people are participating in because I don't know any criminals. So, or I shouldn't say, I know criminals who have already been caught for their crimes and are in jail. And that's it. Like, I don't know. I don't know any free criminals. Let's put it that way. Like, and also, I'm not one of them. So, like, there's not some custom that would apply to me. I also think it's very strange because, like, I think some of y'all are confusing criminality with blackness when y'all are on campus right now buying cocaine from white dudes. So, if you're not confused, let's be clear here. It's illegal to sell cocaine in bags on a college campus. Like, that is not legal. If it were legal, they would be selling it at the Walgreens. So the white kid that you buy drugs from, that is an illegal transaction, otherwise known as criminal activity. So, like, when you're like trading Bitcoin for nothing using money laundering, yeah, that's illegal too. That's called criminal activity. You can kind of say whatever you want about it. You could be like, oh, like, you know, this person said this and then they did this and then like, whatever you want to say. It's just kind of like, you, I don't know what to say. Like, all of that shit is like illegal. Yeah. So probably shouldn't be doing that. Probably should do something else. Not that. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Mm. Mm. I'm very confused around like how we're all so oblivious to like what criminal activity is. And why criminality and blackness are just so closely aligned. Niggas need to stop watching television shows. They're scripted, they're casted by white people who want to give you a certain perspective on the way society works and looks. And that's it. That's called television. If you go out in, just go outside. Just go outside and see the people who are there. Talk to the people who are there. That's it. If you notice that when you go outside, like there's only one type of people, it isn't because only those type of people exist. It's because you only know those type of people. Like that's why. The onus is on you to expand your worldview and meet other people. That's on you. Like if you want to do that work, you can. You can also be like, I don't want to do that work, and then not. But the onus is on you. Like the responsibility falls on you to do or not do that work. It isn't someone else's job to do it. So I think it's important to say that. I also think it's interesting to talk about like the weird, it's very weird. It's just like the weird, the weird way that like some people just believe that like the society works. Like I wish I understood how to explain it better, but I don't know how. I honestly think my worldview is just so different from so many other people. Like, I don't think other people can relate to me at all. And it's a very strange place to sit. It's kind of like being on an isolated, being on an island, isolated, but like all the time. And then it's like sometimes I realize that the like really privileged white people that I don't want to communicate with simply because of like privilege and race, I have way more in common with them than I do with the like strange black people, those like poor Oaklanders who are like consumed by like criminal culture and drugs. And then there's like another group of people. I think these are mostly men who are just like who've like hypersexualized women in all of these like really weird toxic ways. And then kind of like ruin society for everyone. And in all of these groups, like these people are there and they have like existences and experiences and stuff, but like I don't really relate to them. Sometimes I understand them, sometimes, but I still don't like relate, you know? Don't relate. And it's really weird. It's just, it's so weird. And sometimes it makes me like question it makes me question my own it doesn't make me question my own story. It makes me question which parts of my own story I feel comfortable sharing and which parts I want to change just because I don't feel comfortable having an affiliation with some people who I despise so much. And I don't know if that makes sense right now. If you think about it a bit more, it might make some sense though. What I'm saying is that, like, sometimes you realize maybe like a person and their privilege and like their feelings about something, like how they got to like a particular place in the society or the world, right? And you realize like, well, I actually don't like the story that is behind this person getting to that place. Like, it doesn't make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel upset and like bad or whatever. And so you don't want to associate yourself with that story that you find like that you despise. You might despise the story, so then you're trying to separate yourself from the story, like, yeah, I'm not like that. I didn't do that. I don't believe that. That's them and this is me. That sort of like ideology. I think that can be difficult because, like, in my case, it starts to feel like, how can you separate yourself from like Americana? Like, you're an American citizen, bitch. Like, how can you separate yourself from your own country? And it's just kind of like, I mean, I have to because I just relate so little. And I despise everything about the country. That's why I just continue to try to like push myself farther and farther away from citizenship and closer to virtually anything else. And sometimes the work of trying to make that distinction is really tiresome. Like, it will, if you do that shit long enough, it will wear you down. But also, it's kind of like, what other choice might you have? Because you just might not relate. What if your real experience is that, like, bro, I don't relate to that shit. I just don't. You know, having America look at you as like a criminal is very weird. Especially, I feel like I relate to Kanye West because he's having to deal with people looking at him like a lunatic when the reality is they don't understand his perspective. And it isn't their responsibility to understand it. Like, why do they need to understand? There's not really a need for them to understand it. Like, no one is saying, like, you have to understand Kanye West. You have to listen to him. Nobody's saying that. Like, it's not anybody's responsibility to, like, you know, agree with him or listen to him. If they want to, they can. But they can also very easily, like anyone else, say, no, I don't agree, and not listen.